Okay, for this layout, I'm using the brand new Devotion Accent laser paper. This one in particular, I've already cut it up, so, and this is all I've got left. So, but I like the fact that it's just small hearts, and it's got the embossed gold hearts on the white and the grey muted one on the back. Also, we'll be using, or I'm using, some pink shimmer cardstock out of one of our recent shimmer cardstock buffets, the black shimmer, which you can purchase, and a sheet out of the designer Devotion pack. And I really like this quite muted grey pattern. The other side has got wedding cakes, and I've done all weddings, so not likely for me to be using that, but it's got a really beautiful pattern here that you could use with lots of different layouts. So we'll start with that now. The tools, I've also intend to use a few of these red rose embellishments. I think they're really, really pretty and great for lots of different layouts. So I'm going to use a few of those. The tools we'll be using, I'm using in this, is your 12-inch trimmer. And if you've got the ball clips and you've seen Megan Jacks's trick on how to create a frame, we're going to be doing that. I'm using the leaf trail punch that I earned in the incentive trip to create my frame. The brand new, out of the Valentine's pack, the Love Letters punch, the Infinity border punch, scissors, repositionable tape runner, and I'm using a 1.5-inch circle. Now you can cut this out of your custom cutting system if you don't have the punch to do it, but I've got this from the old mob, so we will put that to good use. So let's get started. Let me show you how to create your frame. Now we're going to make our bordered frame. Now I learnt this technique from Nicole in the US, and what you need to use is a border punch that doesn't come away from the border, so it's left on the edge of your paper when you punch it out. Something like this would work fine, but I'm going to use the leaf trail punch for mine. So what we need to do is you need to take your piece of paper that you've chosen, and I'm using papers out of the Devotion pack, and I think this is really pretty, and it's not a directional paper, which I think absolutely helps. Now you need to fold over your paper diagonally, and you need to match it up pretty well near perfect. So just make sure you line those pieces up really well before you crease it, and crease. Then we are going to take the two sides. Now you will, at this point, you'll need either a pencil or a pen to mark it. Now I think I'm going to use the pencil because there is quite a gap between the paper's edge and where it cuts away from. If I did it right at the top, you wouldn't see it right at the top of the paper. So if I draw a line down on my paper where it's going to go, you will see it. So we'll show you that in a moment. So you need to take this corner, fold it over, and line it up evenly along the edge. And don't make a crease, you just need to make make sure you've got it exactly up to the corner. Just make a little mark there. I hope you can see that. So you don't want to crease it all the way across, just here. Now where you make that mark is where you will do your pencil mark, and I think I'll grab a ruler for that. Just so we're getting it nice and accurate. Now I will be able to see that when I go on to the next step. we're going to repeat what we have just done on the opposite side. So make sure you get it all the way to the top. And then just the edge is where you need to crease. So make sure it's all the way to the top, into the corner, and just crease the edge. Now you've seen that crease mark. And like I said, you could use just a black pen and do a dot depending on the border punch you're using. So we shouldn't see that afterwards, and if we do, of course, being pencil, it'll be easy enough to rub out. Now we're going to take our border punch, and what we need to do is we need to get the corner, and I hope you can see that there, that corner will line up with that line, so it'll be in this section here. Let's see if I can show you. So if you can see that pencil mark, you want to line it up, and that's the value of doing a line. You can line that up very accurately, and that is going to be your first punch. Press down, hold firm in place, and there is your first punch. Get rid of our little bits, and we turn it around, and we're going to punch it as you normally would. So line it up, make sure it's all lined up to the top of your paper. Make sure you get that all in place. And make sure you line it up accurately with your punch. And we keep going till we get to this end. I think there'll be a couple more to go by the time we line that up accurately. Line it up, make sure no blue is showing through. Punch, and then we will have one more to go. And then we're going to turn it around and do that side. So last one, make sure we've got it in there perfectly, and make sure we're lining it up perfectly, and we should get the last one at the end there. Let's see, all good. So that's that side done. Get rid of our graffiti, and we're going to do exactly the same as we did on the other side. Going to line it up, make sure your line lines up, hold it down, and punch. And there's our first punch, and we will work back the other way as we did previously. When I did a practice one with this leaf punch, I actually was doing it with the paper over that way and working, and I think it's easier to turn the paper and follow in the same direction as you did the first time. I think it's far, far easier, and especially to get it accurately at the end. Okay, nearly there. Make sure you get rid of that graffiti each time too, so there's nothing to catch on. And the last one, which is always the tricky one, to line up this last one. Make sure it's lined up accurately. And there we go. So that's the first side done. Now, to finish it off, we will now need to fold it back. This way. And you need to make sure you're lining up. You need to line up your papers so they meet accurately. I'm just going to take a little bit of time to make sure I've got that perfectly lined up. And then once you have, fold it down, and we're ready to go on to completing exactly the same way as we've done the last lot. So we're going to line up this one here, and we're nearly at the end. And it looks so lovely with the leaf punch, the leaf trail punch. Now let me find where it lines up. Make sure that's exactly up against the wall, and punch. Yep, we got it caught, something caught. That's the only problem. Sometimes things like this get a little bit caught inside. I might use some scissors, or just get rid of that bit there, because I think that's what's getting caught. And the last, just the last bit, we need to line up. Make sure it's exactly where it needs to be. And punch. And there's one side. Flip it over and we'll do the other. I think it does make it easier getting rid of those extra bits that can get caught in your punch. Okay, let's find where our pattern is. Anyone else like me sometimes has trouble finding the pattern on it. Line it up. I'm going to get rid of that little bit before it even causes a problem. So there's nothing to catch on it. And our last corner. So when you get to the corners, just make sure that your corner piece is right up against the edge of your border punch, and that you have lined everything up accurately. And there we go, all done. So now we'll get rid of our little graffiti bits. Now we are going to turn it into an actual frame. So this is what it looks like. And I think the other secret is to make sure when you fold it, you crease the edges really well. So that will give, now I notice it's just a little bit out in that corner, but we can possibly use an embellishment to cover that. So the corners aren't perfect, but you can see it will give you the frame. So now I want to turn it into an actual frame, because I don't want this middle section in. I want a background paper to show through. So we're going to use our 12-inch trimmer, and if any of you have seen Megan Jacks's trick with the ball clips, so because of the width of the leaf trail punch, I've set it at 10 inches at the bottom, and at, I hope you can see that, there, 1.5 inches at the top. So it's on the 1.5 inch mark that lines up with a white carriage there, and that will stop you going any further. It's like a security thing. So now to get that, we just need to line up this line with the 1.5 inch mark. So long as that's to the top, all the way to the top, and 1.5 inches, because of the ball clips, it will cut accurately. So just make sure you've got that lined up properly before you go. So that's gone all the way. Need to take that out, turn, and just keep repeating till you have all 4 sides done. Megan Jacks is just a genius because I love using this now. There's no having to eyeball anything. It just keeps it absolutely accurate the whole way through. There's some very clever ladies out there in CM, and I've certainly learnt a lot over the years. And the last one. Make sure it's all the way to the top. Okay, and that takes out our square bit, which I can use to mat or do something else. Now, if you want to reuse it and but you worry about the fold marks, if you fold it back onto itself the opposite way, it tends to flatten it out a little bit more and it's not quite so bad. So this is what I am now left with that I intend to use. And we'll adhere that to our backing paper. Now we've finished creating the frame, and I think that looks fantastic. But I feel like it needs to be lifted a little bit. So I've gone ahead and cut an extra frame out of the black shimmer. And I've taken, here we go, before I stick that down, I've taken an inch off 2 sides, and then marked my trimmer with the little bull pegs at 1.5 inches down and 9.5 inches in to create this great frame. And how it's going to look, I'll hear this first, is it'll end up like that, and I feel like it just frames it nicely and lifts it quite well. So let's get started by adhering the underneath part first, and of course using repositionable tape will make it nice and easy. And you could almost use any of the border punches that stay attached, as Nicole explains in her video on YouTube, and it just gives a great new use to them rather than them just being used as a border. Now I'm intending to use just one photo on this page, and I know some people balk at one photos, but this is of my mother and father-in-law on their 60th wedding anniversary, and it was originally an 8x6, so I've cut it down to a 6x6, and it's just a lovely photo of them. So I will add extra photos in the following pages, but this will be the first one in the group of pages. So I just might bend that backwards just to make sure we don't get the creases in the corners. And let's get that down. Now, if you line it up properly, you will get that little bit of black frame underneath, which I think kind of even frames it a little bit more. And of course, it gives like a picture frame on the page. Oops, might have to lift that up a tiny little bit. Thank goodness for repositionable tape. I think that's nice and straight. Just get that corner. Right. Now our photo, before we do our photo, I have gone ahead and using the Infinity Punch I spoke about earlier, the Border Maker cartridge, I've gone and cut out 4 border infinity strips. And what I've done is taken one of the infinities off each end, and just to give it a little bit more colour, I thought we would adhere those. So I'll go ahead and adhere those. You can really see how this makes it look like a decorative frame now. So this is my photo, as I said, that I wanted to cut into a 6x6, and so I've cut a mat in a 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 and a second mat to double mat it in a 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. So I'll go ahead and adhere those all together. Okay, we'll adhere that to the center of the page. We're down to the last little bits to go, just about finished. Now, I think I want to put a small embellishment here. So I've gone and punched out another strip of the Infinity. I've done an extra one in the pink and an extra one in the black shimmer. And if you cut them up, you only need 4. You can create this kind of flower effect, which looks really nice behind bits and pieces. So I think I'll do the red and pink flower for the bottom corner there. And then using the Love Punch, I've created this cluster of embellishments. So I've used the Love Punch and I've taken away the negative in the red and made a 1.5 inch black shimmer circle and adhered them using repositionable tape, and then created another one of these little flowers, I guess the best thing to call it, in the rose shimmer to put behind it, and then added the cluster of flowers out of the red rose embellishment pack. And I wish to use that in that top corner there. So we'll go ahead, and I think I might foam square at least the flowers. So we'll put that one down. Just the center of it. And then I think we'll get some foam squares. I love using foam squares. I love popping things up. It just gives such a nice finish to things. I've just purchased the foam tape because I never knew years ago how much I would love it. I'll put those there. And then I think we will foam square this one as well. Might need a few extras. Couple in the middle, and then maybe An extra one for support there. And maybe a smaller one there and a smaller one there. Just for a bit of extra support. Test that. And that should be fine. So as you can see, you could use this layout for more than just anniversary photos. You could use it for any special photo. It'd be great to use the border punch and use it for possibly that special school photo or formal photos, that special couples photo. Would work a treat. There we go. Thank you.